Reddit, what was the worst thing you did as a honey teen? When I was in 6th grade, before everyone had a digital camera, I had a 7th grader scan her VJ and send it to me. Fapped while tubing down a river. My family was 200 yards behind me. Was really young, right before I really learned how to properly fap, but still exploring Shrek stuff. I would do things like hump my pillow or carve a hole into a Nerf ball for my wang. All that was well and good until I tied my dong to my chair and then proceeded to trip over a stuffed animal, almost ripping my dong off. I still have the scars. Oh, the humanity. I once tried fapping with a Neapolitan ice cream bar. Not sure why I thought it would help, but I did it anyways. When I was 12, I used anything I could get my hands on to fap. Pens, hairbrush handles, and, most memorably, marbles. I would just let them roll around. I was a weird kid. Received a BJ from my best friend's sister while he slept on an adjacent couch. I stayed over at their house a lot after the first time. I fapped off on a plane. It had internet on it, but they blocked all the peen sites. But they didn't block Facebook. Rookie mistake, American fricking Airlines. If I've taken a number 2 at your house or business, I was probably fapping one out. I swear I had a permanent erection in my teens. I fapped off 5 minutes before class and ended up being late, because I always bask for 10 minutes. One summer, back in the glory days of teeming teenager Shrek-showality, me and a few friends made a fake VJ of sorts. We took a solo cup and stuffed it with papaya towels until a nice, cushy tunnel was formed. We then took a plastic sandwich bag and lined the paper towel tunnel. We headed on down to my friend's camper in the woods and each took a turn fricking it, swapping the bag for a clean one after each use. Where things really took a turn was when we ran out of lotion to lubricate our Franken VJ with and used shampoo instead. Dong dried out so bad I got an open sore, and being 13 I couldn't keep my hands off myself to let it properly heal for a good 6-8 months. I tried to frick my couch when I was 13. Not even a throwaway, I have no shame. Fapped on a coach, whilst everyone around me was asleep. I found out last year the girl who sat next to me wasn't. I found my mom's vibrator. And I was horny. So I turned it on and put it against my dong and rubbed up and down until I came. Only until my post-cum consciousness kicked in did I realize the horror. Took some racy shots of my booze to send to a complete stranger. Unfortunately, despite thinking I had deleted them from family computer, they still ended up being viewable by my parents, who saw them. So embarrassing. Poured shampoo all over my dong when I was laying in the bath. Got some in the pee hole. Days of endless sharp jabs of agony. I fapped with toothpaste. Don't ever fap with toothpaste. Luckily I was in the shower, so I was able to rinse it off immediately when the pain started. But at first it was a surprisingly nice lube. It burned for about an hour later. I've heard horror stories of friends that used icy hot. When I was 12, I was home alone and extremely horny. When fapping wasn't enough, I walked around the house, naked, with a boner. I was looking for somewhere to put it in. After some searching, I saw my bicycle. I laid it down on the floor and pillow drived my peanuts into the peg. I only got 2 pumps in before I realized how terrible of an idea this was. I proceeded to feel disgusted with myself for the rest of the summer. I had a really soft and fluffy blanket on my bed. I would get naked and lay on it, because it was so soft. Then I started moving around and found out how great it felt on my dong. I would eventually start to hum on that blanket. A lot. Several times a night. No cleanup. I just left it. My mum mentioned how dirty it was when she washed it one time. In 8th grade, I saw a girl's boo touch the edge of her desk. Not like naked boo or anything, but like fully clothed boo. When nobody was in the room, I went over and licked the desk. I'm not proud of this. Dude, I've got to kill her. Fact, while sharing a bed with my mother in a hotel we got stuck in on a shooty road trip. I was trying to be super quiet, didn't make a sound, but couldn't stop my legs from twitching now and then. I thought I got away with it, until just after I came, when she rolled over, threw her hand up over her face, and started laughing hysterically. I was so embarrassed that I ran in the bathroom and threw up and then slept on the floor. She laughed at me the entire rest of the trip. What the frick was wrong with me? I still want to throw up when I think about it. She says it's her fault for never teaching me anything about Shrek's the human body puberty at any point in my life, but downloaded Peen on my neighbor's DSL Wi-Fi back in the days when I had 56k. No regrets. My parents were worried I had sleep apnea. They scheduled a sleep study for me. They hooked me up to all these sensors and told me not to roll over too much. The nurse administering the sleep study was really freaking hot and I could see her through the glass in the other room while I was supposed to be sleeping. She was talking to another nurse and they were laughing and joking. I couldn't hear them, but oh my god, she was unbelievable to look at. So, I rubbed one out. Had no idea they could tell by reading data from those sensors. Them explaining the readings to my parents was really awkward. Had Shreks with my then girlfriend in the elevator of my high school. Since I'm wheelchair bound, I took her on the elevator with me a couple of times. One day we just decided to push the emergency stop button. Good thing the alarm was not working at the time. I used to steal panties. Every chance I had to sneak off to some girl's room and grab a quick thong, I hopped on that chute. I plundered the drawers of middle school girlfriends, daughters of family friends, and friends' sisters. I still see some of those people, and I'll think about how close I sometimes came to being caught. Me, heterosexual male, and couple of my friends went out one snowy night at age 13 and made a snowman with a huge peanuts. We all sucked his snow peanuts for about 10 minutes. We all got horribly sick and had to stay home from school for a week. My ex. Ha 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 ha. But I biked 8 miles a day for a whole summer to have Shreks. And stuck my dong in ice. My friend and I, both 17, double teamed a girl at a sleepover. The sad part is that my other friend asked her out the next day. Story time. So it's my friend's birthday, let's call him Bob. So Bob invites all the usual people. But Bob's sister invited her friend, so the party continues and I start talking to this girl. It turns out she likes me. I, being the player I am, go to my friend and say, I'm in their dog. Party ends. It's Bob's sister's friend, my other friend and me. We are sitting on the couch, I playing with the girl. And Bob goes to bed. It just my friend, the girl and me. My friend then starts to fill her up. I'm sporting full cup. I take the back and he takes the front. 20 minutes later we are both done. Go to bed and get up. It turns out Bob asked out the girl. To this day Bob never know what happened that night. I was on the bus to a youth church conference. FWB was in the same seat. It was like a 20-hour drive, so a lot of the bus was asleep. Well, she throws a blanket over us and goes to town with her hand. I start getting close and say I don't know what we are going to clean it up with, to which she responds, don't worry about it, just let me know when. Somewhat confused, a few seconds later I tell her now. Her head disappears under the blanket. And that is how I found heaven. In my mind it comes down to one or two things that I can't think of. In my 8th grade Spanish class, everybody was kind of paired off with their desks, and I sat next to this one girl who I only really knew because of her boyfriend. We started talking some and it got kind of flirty, and I decided one day I would just whip out my dong, so I did that during class. I then proceeded to beat one off for her while the teacher was going on about one thing or another. That was an oddly invigorating experience. This one isn't completely the worst thing I did, but in 9th grade, my girlfriend at the time gave me a B-job this public 2nd floor balcony that people used to enter and exit the 2nd floor of the building. Underneath this balcony was a restaurant, and being that it was midday, people were at the restaurant. I guess it was hard to tell when I would have finished, because she was completely flabbergasted when I came into her mouth. She ended up going to the edge of the balcony and spitting it down to the restaurant seating below. We heard someone shout something up at us, but we bolted back inside before anything could happen. Definitely not some of my finer moments, but who hasn't been there? I used to watch the X-rated rap music videos and throw myself around my bedroom. Oh, to be young again. When I was 16, I pretended I was 18 and posted an ad on Craigslist. Hooked up with a 25-year-old. All kinds of illegal. Had Shreks with my younger brother, 9, and sister, 10, on my bed. We were all watching a movie, and I just kind of wriggled my pants down and my boyfriend entered me from behind and went slow. I don't remember anymore if he finished or not. As a young, horny male teen, I could easily whack it 3-4 times a day, double that for the weekends. I was also fairly adventurous in my self-preservation. Having grown tired of good old lefty and righty, one night I made a game-changing observation. My erectong fit snugly into an empty paper towel roll. Clearly realizing the cardboard tube would tear my woody to shreds, I needed some kind of lubricant. Shaving cream would become that game-changing implement of fapping. Good old Barbasol would have worked fine, but I had something else. Edge-sensitive skin shave gel. Now guys, if you have used this product on your face, you know 2 things. 1. This shoot expands like crazy, and 2. It leaves your face with a tingly clean feeling. So, having filled the roll with said lubricant, I began going to town. Not too long after, I began to feel the familiar tingle that has made this shave gel famous. Except, because it was all over my peanuts, the sensation was multiplied by 100. I was horny and determined, so I fought through it. Ended up getting off and immediately taking a shower to rid my body of the zesty tingle. So word of advice guys, if you are going to use a paper towel roll and shaving cream as frick toys, don't use shave gel. Use Barbasol. It's also way cheaper.